All right. This is your very first lesson. I'm so excited that you are here, and I hope that you are excited as well. You probably have lots of emotions, and they are all perfect. So we are going to talk today about why you're here. I want you to ask yourself this question. Why did I take Coach Claire's 15 pounds down class? What is it that I hope to get from this? And I also want you to think about why you are where you're at. Along this journey, we're going to develop a vision for you to become your future self. You've got to start living as if you're that person who's 15 pounds lighter and believe that you really are that person. Okay, so you've got to figure out first where you are right now. And one way we do that is by creating a model. Like, what are you getting in your life? Why are you the way you are now? And we're going to go through and kind of follow a step-by-step model. And in fact, it's called the model. And we're going to put our life into this model and see how we're creating what we're creating in our lives, how we're living the way we're living. Okay, so the first thing, I'm going to give you an example. Yours might be different, but I want you to grab a piece of paper and you're going to write down your answers when I ask them, okay? So here's the first question. Here's the model. We're going to learn. This will be one of the tools we use a lot in our coaching. Now, the question I want you to ask is, what's your current weight? That's a circumstance, right? A circumstance is something that is a fact, and it is, we always want to see circumstances as a fact that can be interpreted many different ways, right? We don't have control over the circumstance, but we have control over how it can be thought about, okay? So here's your circumstance, it's 165. So write down circumstance and write down your number. It might not be 165, maybe it's 180, maybe it's 200, maybe it's 220, doesn't matter. Put your weight in there, okay? Because you're all going to lose 15 pounds. That's what's going to be similar about this journey. Okay, so then I want you to ask yourself, what is the thought you think about that? What is the thought that you consistently have? When you think about that number, 165, 185, 199, what is the thought that comes to your mind? I'm pausing because I want you to think about it. Okay, so write that down. What do you think about that number? Maybe you're thinking, this is so hard. This is so hard trying to lose weight, trying to get to my ideal weight, okay? For example, that's the one I put in there. That's something that I thought a lot when I was 165. All right, now the next question I want you to ask yourself is, how do you feel when you think that thought? So say that thought that you wrote down to yourself in your mind. You might need to close your eyes. And I want you to tap into your emotional state. An emotion is a one word to describe what you're feeling. Now, when I think this is so hard, I feel frustrated. That's so funny. That was the word I was going to choose. I couldn't remember what I wrote down. But every thought we think creates a different emotion. And when I think this is so hard, I feel frustrated. When you think your thought that you wrote down, what is the feeling that you create for yourself with that thought? Write that down in the feelings line. Okay. So far we've got your circumstance, your thought, and your feeling. Now, whenever we take an action, we are taking an action from a feeling. Sometimes it's avoidant, sometimes it's unconscious, right? Like if you're binging, you might be doing it unconsciously, but that is even an emotion, right? Like trying to escape not being present. So it'd be unpresent, right? Or unaware. Okay, so what is the feeling you create? What is the action you create from that feeling? So when I'm frustrated, I don't do the things that I think are so hard. I avoid them, right? And so I put here, I might try to cut back on the food, but then I overeat because I'm like hungry and I'm like, oh, this is so frustrating. I can't do this, right? So I go ahead and I eat those foods anyways. What else would you do? Like, I might go watch Netflix. I might just stop thinking about it completely, avoid the whole situation because it's so frustrating to me, or I might complain about it to some friends, right? What is it that you do? If somebody was just watching you, they jumped into your life and kind of just watched you from afar, what would they see you doing when you're feeling that emotion you create? Write down all those actions, okay? Excuse me. And then finally, I want you to ask yourself, what's the result that those actions create for you? Now, in the model, you've got to make sure that you are only creating, your result is always for you. You don't create results for other people. They create their own results. You create your own results. And what are you creating? Now, when I am feeling frustrated and I avoid working on my health and wellness, and I complain about it, or I just avoid the thinking process altogether, and maybe I go watch Netflix, or I just go eat something and be like, whatever, it's not worth it, right? What I create is that I'm making it harder on myself, right? I'm still struggling. I keep struggling. When I think this is so hard, I actually create that same result. I make it harder on myself. I keep struggling because it's so hard. Now, it might be hard for you to see how that ties in right now, but we're going to work on this process a lot. This is the way that your reality works. This is the way that all human minds create their existence. Okay. A lot of people think that their life happens to them, that they are at the effect of everything going on in their life, but that's not true. None of this stuff up here, your weight, your bank account, people who say things, people who do things, the weather, politics, none of that affects you until you have a thought about it, until you determine a meaning. You give a meaning to that event or to that situation, that circumstance. So here you interpreted 165 as being, this is so hard. Like I'm going to be 165 forever because this is so hard to lose weight, right? So that thought created that feeling of frustration, that action of avoiding. And then the result is that you keep struggling or you make it harder on yourself. So your thought always proves the results in your life. You can always find your results, figure out why you're creating them by backing up to your thinking about your life. Okay. So that is where you're at. I want you to look in your model and make sure that your circumstance is just a number, because that's a neutral. All numbers are neutral. Some people might look at that and be like, that's amazing. Maybe if you're 200, you're looking at 165 and you're thinking, that's wonderful. I would love to be 165. And then somebody else would look at it and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so far away from my goal, right? If your goal is 140, you look at 165 and you're like, oh. So that's how we know that 165 is like a neutral thing, because it can be interpreted so many different ways. So make sure your circumstances, just a number, neutral. We keep that area neutral. And then your thought is just one phrase. Maybe you're thinking, this is so hard, I'm never going to do it. I'm just not good at this. Don't put that many thoughts in the thought line. It can only be one thought, because each thought we think creates a different feeling. So just make sure you have one short phrase. Mine is, this is so hard. And then feeling is always one word. I don't want you to put frustrated, angry, hopeless, right? Just the one word, frustrated. And then your actions, this is where you can list all the things you do. Watching Netflix, complaining to other people, avoiding the whole thing, maybe overeating more because you just feel like it's never going to happen anyways, right? And then that result is what it creates for you. When I do all these things, I'm just making it harder on myself and I'm going to keep struggling. Okay. So now we have your model. We see why you're getting what you're getting. It's because of your thinking that thought, this is so hard, or whatever thought you might be thinking. Okay. So now I want you to think about where you want to be, right? Like if we're going for 15 pounds down, so we're 15 pounds down, what would you have to be thinking in order to feel the way that would make you do those things, to stay on your protocol, to exercise for fun, to help you to feel healthy and motivated, right? We're not exercising to lose weight here in this program. That's not what exercise is going to help us do. It's going to just improve our mood. It's going to maybe take away even some pains and aches that we have from just being sedentary, right? So that's why we use exercise. It's for fun, to increase our mood level and just to motivate us to like get out and to be active and to do more activity of what we find fun, right? Because that's showing up in your body, okay? So what would you have to be doing in your life, like to follow your protocol, to not overeat, and to be not thinking that this is so hard, that this is deprived. Okay, so this is the model we're creating for your future, what we want to grow into. So here's the model, and here's our circumstance. Okay, so yeah, you're 165, and for the results, I want you to put in the result that you want to have. Okay, so here we are, 165, that's your circumstance. Instead of creating a place where you continue to struggle and this is continue to be hard, we're going to come up with another thought that you also believe. How about this thought? I want you to try on a different thought. It's possible I've been doing it wrong. When I think that thought, it's possible I've been doing it wrong. I feel curious, and that's the feeling I put there, right? And now curious is such a different feeling than frustrated, because when you're feeling curious, you're open. So I want you to try a different thought than you were thinking before. Maybe this might work. I'm open to trying this. It's possible I can lose 15 pounds in 6 weeks. I am so excited to try it, right? Any thought that you believe now, just as much as you believe it's hard, right? You want to get up to like 95% belief rate, because we want to tap into an emotion in your body and a thought in your body that already feels true to you. This one we know the one, this is hard, felt so true to you. When you work on changing your thoughts, you've got to go for ones that are just slightly out of the realm of your possibility for yourself, right? We're not going to go like, oh, it's as good as done. Like, I'm going to snap my fingers, it's going to be so easy, right? Going from this is so hard to this is so easy, it doesn't make any sense. But I can go from this is so hard to, it's possible I've been doing it wrong, right? It's almost like I'm explaining to my brain why it's so hard, right? Like, maybe I've been doing it wrong. I've tried so many different things. I just haven't found the right thing yet. Maybe this is the thing for me. I want you to try that thought on if you're having a hard time coming up with one. Maybe this is what I need to do to lose the 15 pounds, right? And then what do you feel? Curious, possibly hopeful. Remember, it's just one word. Put that in your model. And then the action. When I'm feeling curious, when I'm feeling hopeful, I'm going to change my mindset, right? Because I'm not going to be frustrated anymore. I'm going to be like, what if, right? And that already puts me in a new place in my mind. It's vibration higher than frustration, right? So I'm in a new mindset, and I'm going to follow my protocol. I'm going to be like, okay, this might work. Let me be curious about this. Let me try this, right? Let me work on managing my emotions with Claire and my coaching. Let me see if changing my mindset and controlling my emotions and my thoughts can get me somewhere different. And I promise you it will, right? So what are all those actions you do that are differently? Maybe you move more because you're curious about exercising for fun rather than exercising for weight loss. Maybe you try something like allowing an urge to be there without getting up and responding, like, oh, I want that granola bar in the pantry. Maybe instead of doing it, you're like, I'm going to try to do what Claire suggested, which is just sit here and allow my limbic system, like my primitive brain, to go wild and tell me it knows what I need. I'm just going to watch it. I'm going to sit here and I'm not going to respond, right? So your actions will look different when you're curious and hopeful than when you are frustrated or hopeless. So when you do those things and you start changing what you've been doing, what's the result? Is that now you have new information. You have new evidence, right? That, oh, this is working. Look, I lost a pound. You're going to start losing weight. If you're doing what I'm showing you and teaching you how to do, that is going to change. So this is a model that gets us a different result. Now, nothing has changed. You're still 165 in this moment, but now what you've changed is your thought about being 165. You've changed your thought from this is so hard, or whatever your thought was, to my thought, it's possible I've been doing it wrong, right? Just one phrase. It's possible I've been doing it wrong. When I put that one phrase in there, I feel curious. When I'm feeling curious, I change some of the things I'm doing. I change my mindset. I open my like thought process is up to maybe this will be the thing. And so I'm open, I'm willing, right? I'm looking for things that make sense for me to try. Following my protocol, doing the scientific method to see how these different foods affect me, to see what intermittent fasting does, right? You're going to start doing all the things that I will teach you in the next few lessons. Your actions will change from ignoring, like being frustrated, complaining, watching Netflix, forgetting about it, right? Banging your head against the wall and asking yourself why you can't. You're not going to do that stuff anymore because now you're feeling curious and hopeful. And then what you're going to create is something different than making it harder on yourself. You're not making it harder on yourself. You're not gaining weight. You're getting new information about what this program can do for you that you've never tried before, what managing your mind and your food protocol and how often you eat. You're getting new information about how that affects your body weight, how that affects your emotional well-being when you manage your mind and you feel your emotions rather than eating them. Right? So steps in the new direction. When you're thinking it's possible you were doing it wrong, you're getting new information about how doing it a different way affects you. And you're gathering evidence that maybe you were doing it wrong before. Okay, so this model, now we've created two models. The first model was to help you become aware of why you're getting what you're getting. Struggle bus, right? When I think this is so hard, I feel frustrated. I avoid the things or do things that are actually counterintuitive, sabotaging, and then I make it hard on myself and I keep struggling. Okay, that's how we got where we're at. That's your model. It's going to look different than mine, or it could look the same as mine if you agree exactly with what I wrote. And then your new model that I want you to start interrupting the old model when you catch yourself thinking this is hard or whatever it is you're thinking, you're like, oh, that's the thought that's making me continue to struggle. I'm going to try thinking this new thought because I also believe this new thought. It's possible I've been doing it wrong. Maybe it's been so hard because I've been doing it wrong. It's possible that Coach Claire can actually help me lose 15 pounds like she says she can, right? What if this works? So now you offer your brain that thought. And since it already feels true, it instantly brings this new emotion. Instead of frustration, you might feel something like curious. You might feel something like hopeful. You might feel something like motivated. And when you're in a feeling like that, just one word that you choose, then you do different actions. You're not avoidant. You try the intermittent fasting. You try the new protocol that we've come up with together, the individual one for you, right? You try managing your emotions and not reacting to urges that your limbic system, your primitive brain gives you to go up and get that ice cream, right? You try just allowing that urge to be there and interpreting it differently, not thinking that you're depriving yourself, but thinking that you are overcoming your primitive brain by learning how to be the manager of your mind. So now you're doing all these different actions, things you've never done before because you didn't know about, and you're getting a new result. No longer are you creating it more struggle and making it harder on yourself. You're getting new information, you're trying new things, you're moving towards being 15 pounds down. So this is your lesson for this week. I want you to rewatch this and pause it if you might need to. Make sure that you get your models down and then send me a copy of your models and I will go over them and make sure you got them right. And then we will go over them in our individual session that we have together. And I will answer any of the questions you have and we'll just dig in deeper to this concept of why you're getting what you're getting now, how that fits into the model, and moving into the future you want for yourself and how to get there. A thought that will create a different emotion and different actions and a different result that puts us on the path to becoming 15 pounds down. All right, I'm so excited to get started on this work with you. I know that together we can accomplish this, and we will accomplish this in such a short time as the 6 weeks when you follow what I am teaching and you begin to manage your mind and come from a place of motivation and curiosity and committed, then you are going to change your life. You're going to step into that empowered version of yourself, and this will become easy. And you will recognize that this is the thing that you've been missing, the food along with the emotions. All right. drop me a line if you have any questions. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you through all of this. Don't ever feel like you're alone, because you're not. I'm your coach, and I'm here to do anything I can to help you through this time. All right, take care. In the next one.